こんにちは、サムライフラッグチャンネルへようこそ。
はい、よろしくお願いします。サムライフラッグのカズです。
はじめまして、私の名前はマリエルです。よろしくお願いします。私はアメリカ人です。アメリカのニューヨーク出身です。3年くらい日本に住んでいました。今、東京に住んでいますけど、前に京都に住んでいました。1年半ぐらい。私の YouTube チャンネルは On the World Stage。もしよかったら見てください。
はい、ありがとうございます。今日は、アメリカ人のマリエルさんにコロナ収束後に訪れたい国に日本が1位に選ばれたことについて、いろいろ聞いていきたいと思います。マリエルさんは旅行がお好きなんですよね。
So I really like traveling in Japan in particular because it's so convenient and also really safe. So I think if I were traveling in other countries, especially as a woman by myself, that I might feel a little anxious or like unsettled. But in Japan, like I always feel safe anywhere I go, and I feel like I can do everything on my own. びっくりしなかった。
そうですか?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all because so through this whole pandemic, like Japan has been closed. The reason I'm not surprised that so many want to come is because I don't know, like when you're not allowed to have something, like you kind of want it more. Like a child, like who can't have the candy, like really wants to go climb and like sees all the pictures of Japan, all the videos of Japan, or sees Japan YouTube channel, and they really want to go to Japan, but it's forbidden.
Please guess why Japan is the best place.
I think that first, in my opinion, I would recommend it most because of how safe it is. But maybe the reason that it's so popular around the world is just because of all of the famous things that come from Japan. There are many people outside of Japan interested in Japanese food or in anime, manga, like all these kinds of pop culture things. Also now with social media, there's a lot of ways for people within Japan to share pictures and videos of their experiences in Japan. Even if they don't know anything about Japan, like, oh, it looks interesting and might make them want to visit this country. You can like come experience really traditional culture, but you can do like a lot and see many famous places in a short amount of time. So even if you were just in Kyoto for a couple of days, you could see like more than one World Heritage Site, a famous Buddhist temple. You can see beautiful like nature and pagodas, and then even like do a day trip to some other part because it's very convenient, very close. Like a lot to do in a small area.
これが理由なんですけど、これが東アジアに住んでる人たちの理由、これは東南アジアに住んでる人たちの理由、でこれがオーストラリアに住んでる人たちの理由、これが欧米に住んでる人たちの日本に行きたい理由。マリエルさんは、アメリカなのでここですよね。1位は It's safe。It's safe. Yeah, you are right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. もう一つが It's clean.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I moved to Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is funny that that's for America because
just
safe and clean was like the main reason I moved to Japan.
What do you think about this reason, this result?
When I moved to Japan, I heard that Japan was really safe and clean, so those were actually two of the main reasons I wanted to move to Japan. So I hadn't even visited Japan before I moved here, but I could trust Japan because it's safe and clean, everyone told me. America has many good things. I don't want to speak bad about America, but two things that America is not really are safe and clean. For that reason, I think that Americans would like to go somewhere on vacation that is safe and clean. Sometimes like life is really difficult and I feel very alone some days, and I really have to thank Japan because Japan like is a really safe place. There are really good people here. Even though things were like scary on my own a lot, they weren't scary like in a way that I feel, but I also felt a sense of peace knowing like I'm in a good country to like find myself and build my life as it is now.
You came to Japan 2019,
Mm-hmm.
so that's bad due to coronavirus.
Yeah, I don't know much about Japan before coronavirus. I mean, I knew a little bit because I was here for 6 months.
Where did you go sightseeing spot in Japan?
So when I was living in Kyoto, I could go to many different places because in Kansai, like the cities are very close to each other. It's not like Tokyo, which is so big and sprawling and takes up all the space. Kyoto is quite small, almost feels like a big town. Yeah, from Kyoto you can go to Osaka, Kobe, Nara within a couple of hours or even 1 hour. Most incredible place that I could go to Nara was so nice because I love animals. So to see all the deer, I think it's very magical and it's very famous around the world. So before I came to Japan, I saw pictures and videos of this place. It looked like out of a fairy tale. I couldn't imagine everyone's touching all these deer. Because in America, we can't touch deer. Like, okay, like if any Japanese people go to America, don't touch the deer because they have this type of bug on them. It's called a tick and it can give you a disease. So we have to stay far away from deer. So to be able to pet deer was really exciting for me. Miyajima, the magical island off of Hiroshima, especially like as an American, I think many Americans do like feel a very like deep purpose or call to go visit Hiroshima and like see it for themselves and go to the Peace Memorial Museum. So I was really glad that I did that. See the beauty like of that place because I think everything I know of Hiroshima was dark or negative or sad, and then I went there and I just saw that it's a city like any other. Another place I really like, which is not so famous, but there's an island called Naoshima. Which,
Oh, Naoshima, you know?
yeah. So this is in Seto Naikai. One of the islands is an art island called Naoshima. Most famous for the sculpture of, she has a famous pumpkin art, but there's a yellow pumpkin, very famous sculpture, and people love to take pictures of this. It was kind of like the mascot of the island. Yeah, we saw the pumpkin, but now the pumpkin, like during a typhoon, it got washed away. I was so sad when I saw that. Really? And I don't think they're going to replace it, so that's very heartbreaking, but also I feel grateful that I saw the pumpkin. Also, but Kanazawa is one of my favorite places in Japan.
Yeah.
Kanazawa, the city of Kanazawa, I feel is similar in spirit to Kyoto, but much less popular. So it's not crowded at all. They have beautiful castle, like the grounds of the Kanazawa castle. So lovely. You have a great garden with a light show, light and music show every night. Kenrokuen, which is the famous garden, one of Japan's 3 great gardens. And actually, I have a little story about Kanazawa. When I went to Kanazawa, it was in November 2019 the first time. I was traveling by myself. Yeah, because I was traveling by myself, I didn't have anyone to take pictures of me. So I went on Airbnb and they had these Airbnb experiences. And I saw the girl who was running this photo shoot or taking the pictures, this was her experience, actually had studied abroad in America, in California, and she had studied theater, so I studied theater. I'm an actor, so I studied theater in America. But I had never met a Japanese person in Japan who studied theater and had lived in America. And when I met her, like I felt like her and I are gonna be friends forever. Like she's actually now living in Tokyo too. So she moved from Kanazawa to Tokyo. I moved from Kyoto to Tokyo. She's one of my best friends. A wonderful experience. Like I found like a true friend when I was traveling alone.
So what do you think about challenges for Japan's tourist destinations?
So I think that this really depends on the type of experience the tourist wants to have in Japan. See all the very touristy, famous sites like in Tokyo, go to Tokyo Tower, Skytree, go to Kyoto, go see the temples. It's fine, But if you want to have like true, authentic experience in Japan, it's very difficult like to do without Japanese knowledge. I think that many people come to Japan and they come from an English-speaking country where they're used to never having to use another language or interact with anyone who speaks another language. So they come to Japan and they have this mindset that everyone just knows English. My parents, when they came to Japan, like to visit me, there were a few times I saw them just go up to a random Japanese person, start asking a question in English really fast. And it's like they weren't trying to harm them, like they just were asking the question, but they didn't think like that person doesn't understand. But sometimes the Japanese person's just looking at them like, so I think a lot of people do that. So there are signs at some establishments, particularly like small izakayas or local restaurants, where they say that like foreigners aren't allowed. I don't think it's right to say foreigners aren't allowed because there are many foreigners who know Japanese very well. There are even foreigners who are fluent in Japanese. I understand if they say like no English. They want to explain the dish, all the menus with no photos. That type of place, like you really do need someone who speaks Japanese to go there. So I think if you come to Japan and you want to go somewhere like that, you need a guide. Like you need to know someone who knows Japanese. Many people miss out on an amazing meal or an amazing experience because they don't know someone or they don't arrange like some tour guide. Another thing I want to mention was like public transportation in Japan is great, but there are some places that aren't very accessible by train. So like in Inaka, so like if you go to the countryside, yeah, I really needed my friend to drive me there in a car because by train or bus would have been so mendokusai. Hokkaido has a lot of places that you need a car. I had a friend who visited Hokkaido and wanted to see the nature and see some of these beautiful places, but my friend needed to rent a car, and actually my friend had only driven a car maybe once before. Ganbatta. Language, ability, and in some cases a car. Yeah, being able to drive somewhere to experience real Japan.
Where do you want to go to Japan after coronavirus?
Probably my two top places I want to go are completely opposite, but I want to go to Hokkaido, to Sapporo, and eat a lot of food because I really love Japanese food. And then also totally opposite, but I want to go to Okinawa because I want to experience like a really unique, different Japan with like Western influence, slang, and that their like way of speaking is different. So yeah, I think that they might be like really warm feeling and friendly, like island people. So my favorite like Japanese omiyage is the benimo tart. I love that so much when I see them, like, because you know sometimes they sell. I want to make a vlog in Okinawa and Hokkaido.
Oh, 楽しみにしてます。
Yeah, people are waiting for that vlog, but I need to wait. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Samurai Flag channel. If you would like to see more of my content, then please subscribe to my channel. The link is in the description. It's called On the World Stage. Okay, ありがとうございました。またねー。